Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. This is Tall Lifestyle and I am Adam. Today I wanted to go through a get ready with me, something that's simple and easy for complexion, a little bit of brow, lip, and mascara because that is my favorite item. Everything that I use today is a little bit more hydrating, getting ready for work. After this I'm going to head out, do that sort of thing. Otherwise, I'll see you soon. Starting with my everyday look, I do like to do a little bit of skincare, even though I've got like a blemish popping up here, which is not as appealing. Skincare is very important, and so I wanted to include that in my current routine as well. It is winter, so everything's going to be a little bit more hydrating. During the summer, I get a little bit oily, not super oily, so everything that I'm going to be using here for the most part is going to be for more slightly dry skin, winter skin, that sort of thing. I already took a shower and have my beard done in my the Curlsmith Hold Me Softly Style Balm. If you'd like to watch that video and how I style my beard, as well as a little bit of a Curlsmith product review, I'll link in the description below. Otherwise, my first item to use today is going to be the Clarins Double Serum. I enjoy this because it does have little settings on it in terms of, you can see if you'd like to apply less or more. I typically, for the winter at least, keep it on the larger setting, even though I'm only using it on half of my face. It does have two different, like an oil and a serum, I believe. So I'm going to start out by mixing those on the hand and then bringing it up on here. I feel like this is a good way to hydrate. I didn't really believe or know that much about oils before. Since I've been working at Ulta, I went in and I've been able to learn so much about the oils. I get a little red whenever I start messing with my face, but that's not anything strange or new or different. From there, around the eye area, I've started to notice I've gotten a little bit of puffiness recently. I don't know if it's like winter allergies or something along those lines, but I have here the Dermalogica Awaken Peptide Eye Gel. Looks like this. It's a little bright, but... So I'm using just a tiny bit on my either middle or ring finger. Today it's going to be the middle finger, and this is more than enough. I actually probably should have used a little bit less, but... Whenever using skincare, it's good to warm it up, make sure that it's well mixed, that sort of thing. I'm starting to notice fine lines and wrinkles right around here, so that's where my first touches are going to be. And then here in the center as well. Alright, now that I have smoothed on everything from the Dermalogica, let's see, what is this called again? Dermalogica Awaken Peptide Eye Gel, Depuffing Eye Gel. I need a little depuffing. You'll also notice whenever I apply any eye products, most of the time, I at least try to make sure it's a lot more of a pressing motion to help with any sort of water retention in the area. Above tends to be a lot more thick skin, so it can take the torsion of just rubbing products in. In terms of skincare from there, I'm actually kind of done. The product that I have for complexion does have an SPF in it, and so I'm not going to add an additional layer because I don't want to have too much on the face. Starting into cosmetic items though, I do like to color correct when it comes to the redness that I have. I have naturally rosy cheeks. This is popping up today. So I'm going to start out in terms of primer with my Smashbox Color Correct. I wonder, am I going to do this? Is this happening? It did. Look at me, 2007 YouTuber. So it's the Smashbox Photo Finish Correct Anti-Redness Primer. It's really intimidating when you first get this or first see it. It's extremely dark, like in terms of the green. I am going to trust the process and ask you to do the same. Always kind of warming it up on my little finger pads here. I'm going to start with a little touch right there to try to start color correcting. It's of course not going to turn you into Alpha Bussy. Look, a little bit better already. I feel like the most effective part was right here, and even then it's still not gone. But it's meant to not to allow the redness to be so prominent, not completely color correct or turn you into an ogre. So this does take a little bit longer to dry. We're going to give this a little wave down. Okay, so everything is on in terms of the Smashbox primer. This is essentially where I could end in terms of skincare without going into an SPF, but my complexion product does have an SPF. I feel as though I'm hydrated. I could leave today and go anywhere and not feel any sort of self-conscious about my skin, but I am going to go to work, so I want to add a little bit more complexion. And then I love mascara, but we'll get to that point later. I do have for complexion a ItCC Nude Glow SPF 40. Looks like this. I'm currently fair light, or at least I think I'm fair light. There is the potential this is a tiny bit dark. Whenever I'm applying a very light complexion product though, which is typically what I wear, I'm not going to be someone who wears a super full coverage. I like starting on the back of the hand, and this is also an IT Cosmetics brush. This is number 77. I think it says coverage complexion brush. Oh, airbrush coverage complexion brush. Taking the tips of the bristle, I like to get a pretty even distribution on the bristles, and then apply a little bit around the face. Not even taking all of it off the hand. If you start with a more even application, I feel as though you have less blending to do. And then from there, I feel as though you can use this brush in really any direction. I just shaved my head, so I'm probably not going to wear a hat. Whenever you don't have hair, it's kind of like, where does my forehead end? Right there. Most days I do not wear concealer. I just like to do a little light complexion product, including sometimes just wearing this primer with a powder, the Laura Mercier translucent setting powder. Keeping it easy. I'm pretty happy with that coverage. Guess what? I have a mirror too. Why am I leaning in? Because I just shaved my head, it's extra pale and like very exfoliated. Yeah, so this is the IT Cosmetics CC Nude Glow. I actually really like this foundation in terms of it's very imperceptible. Whenever I'm at work or in general, sometimes people will be like, your skin looks really good. Are you wearing anything? It's my favorite question. No, I'm just naturally this pretty. Get over it. And with a little bit of foundation, I'm probably not going to be able to completely obfuscate this blemish, but I think that it's blended in well enough that if anyone points it out, they're just rude. Rude, rude, rude. I am going to do a little concealer today because what would a get ready with me makeup application be without a full face, right? This, oh, jumping in too fast, my bad. This is the Tarte Double Duty Beauty. However, I have the Ultra Creamy because I am a bit more on the dry side during the winter. So I don't want to use the extremely matte Tarte Shape Tape because it is extremely matte. Still valid, has a place. If you're more on the oily side, it's definitely got a place for you. I'm going with a little bit brighter. Keep in mind, it's going to feel really bright when I first put it on. Even at the end of the day, it's still like a little too dark in terms of the way that it cures. So that's always a concern when it comes to the makeup and how it oxidizes, that sort of thing. I like to do what I call the reverse panda. I'm not wearing eyeshadow, so I won't go on the actual lid, and I do not suggest using a creamy concealer on the lid. But in general, I like to keep this area a bit brighter. It also helps to make your brows stand out a bit more. Oh, this brush, I used to work there, so that's why it has a little mind sticker on it from Bare Minerals. But this is the blurring buffer from Bare Minerals, my favorite concealer brush for anything that's on the higher coverage side for not foundation, but concealer. See how this just kind of helps bring the brow forward, really square it up. I feel as though underneath the eye, most of my darkness is right here. But then to make sure that I don't have just this sort of brightened, I'll also take a little bit down here. And also here where possible, not adding any additional product, but using whatever is on the brush. So this is the pre-blend, post-blend. For some reason right here, consistently is like a little bit redder than the rest of my face. I'm not sure why. It is on the left, and I used to do a lot more driving to work and a lot less sunscreen wearing, so I hope I don't have the first steps of rosacea. I try to have a really clean line when it comes to my beard. Right here looks a little harsh for some reason. See what I mean about the reverse panda though? I'm highlighted or highlit or however you'd like to say it all the way around here. And I'm into that. All right, in terms of cream or liquid complexion items, done. if it was an extremely cold day or very, very, very dry, this might actually be how I leave the house because it is a lot more hydrating, a lot more moisturized. I am going to make sure that everything that I have on stays at least for as long as possible. You probably are aware of this one. If not, that's okay. This is the Laura Mercier Translucent Setting Powder. Translucent Loose. I don't think they have a press, but I also don't want to be wrong, so it's the Translucent Loose. When it comes to this, I dropped it earlier, but this is all that's left in the lid. This is, in fact, yeah, I'll use all of this. Still using a Bare Minerals brush. This is the Seamless Shaping and Finish. While I was working there, at one point in time, they went from being a natural fiber, I think this is dyed goat hair, to a synthetic fiber. Even though every once in a while this one will leave like little bristles everywhere, I still prefer this, and for as long as I can use this brush, I'm going to for my setting powder. Very similar to the complexion products, the CC cream from IT Cosmetics. I'm getting just a really general kind of all over application, and then starting where I want things to stay the longest to get that inner eye area, closing and like pressing it in here. From there, just a really light drag. Going back in for a little bit of security. This is a lot less product on the brush, but using it to make sure that everything else that I have on is gonna stay. From here, I don't necessarily need a brow product. However, I'm gonna hop over to my dresser and grab one and be right back. When it comes to the brows, almost every night I'll go through and pluck any of the strays, try to get it into a relatively even shape, especially at the head of the brow. They just grow in wildly different directions for some reason. So I have been liking the more fluffy brow lately. I'm going to be using the Benefit 24-Hour Brow Setter. It is a clear waterproof gel. With it being waterproof, taking it off at the end of the night, I do suggest you have some sort of balm or oil to remove it. A typical foaming cleanser is going to help remove it, but it's not going to completely remove. And I have lots of oils and balms to use because I used to wear a lot more makeup. Now, I don't know, maybe I'm just getting lazy. Or I like a more natural look. This has a few different sides to it in terms of like the little flat side, and then the short bristles, which are towards my face at the moment, and the longer bristles, which are to my left, so I guess you're right. Most days I use just the short bristles that are now here on top. If you wanted to have an extremely long-lasting sort of application, you actually take and go back and forth to make sure that there's kind of a 360 coverage on each of the brow hairs. Since I've already done a little bit of pre-work in terms of all the plucking, I'm just going to lift up into the brow and give it a little bit more of a fluffy look. I wore this yesterday as well, and I used one oil that didn't do a great job, so it had a little bit of residue that I had to remove with the second cleanse. So that's how that is. Just a little bit more lifted, more of a up and out sort of direction, versus this one is up here, but then kind of cascades that way. Because I like to only use the small bristle, I do re-dip in between brows. I feel like my brows are weakest right through here, this arch on the top. So that tends to be where I give it a little bit more support, really trying to fill in this area, at the tail, which is typically defined from arch to here. I will, at the top line, give it just a little bit of a cascade down. So that is all of that. And then my favorite part, mascara. I have tried so many mascaras. Mascaras and lip glosses are probably the two things that, or in general, lip product. Right now I have on a, I think it's the Mario Badescu Rose lip balm. It's in like a little squeezy tube. In fact, I'll get it in just a moment. Before we get there though. Right now, my favorite has been the Benefit Bad Gal Bang. This is for very voluminous lashes. It comes in a bright, bright, bright blue, as well as the waterproof. The waterproof is kind of funny in the way that it like is removed with my balm and oil. A lot of times, any makeup with a balm or an oil will melt. The Bad Gal Bang waterproof, it just kind of crumbs off. And so if you have that, don't be surprised. Because my eyes water a little bit just in general, especially the left one, like right over here, most of the time I'm only going to put mascara on the top lashes. I feel like in general that gives you a very wide open effect as well. As stated before, though, this is very volumizing. If you're looking for a little bit more of a natural look, you can use something like the Benefit Roller Lash. Clarins has one that's really pretty. YSL, what is it called? Baby Doll. And I think that one's available in brown as well. You can also, if you're just looking to, like, let's say your lashes turn blonde at the tips, like mine do, you can do just a brown if you have lighter hair, especially if you're like a blonde or redhead, just a light brown. See how long my lashes are when I have mascara? They like nearly touch my brows, which my brows aren't super high like some people, but I love it. Without. Okay, so I got a little too wild with it already. Also, look, see? That's from the brush. Let go. There we go. Whenever you have a mascara touch, just using what's left in the lid, I'm going to try to help that dry. I'm going to help that, or let that dry with the powder on top of it. Once it's completely dry, you can actually just like swing it off, or fling it off rather. Oh, look, more bristles. See? It's a sacrifice I'm willing to make though. While we're here, I'm going to be impatient and try to remove this with my concealer brush. It is not completely gone. I might just be happy to have an extra beauty mark today. Yes, I am. I'm happy to have an extra beauty mark today. And then when it comes to my lips, I always like to keep them well hydrated. If I don't, I will 100% get crusty lip. Men, women, other non-binary folks, if you do not keep your lips hydrated and you get crusty lips, please fix that. There's lots and lots of options out there. You don't have to go expensive. I'm going to show you some of my favorites, some of which I carry around with me every day. All right, so I don't carry all of these every single day, but I have a Laura Mercier Balm. Almost done. Then I have the Milani Supercharged Citrus Lip Balm. This is nice. It's not the longest lasting when it comes to like the second time you have a sip of water, it's gone. I also have two lip glosses here that are just clear. I'm okay with a glossy lip, but I also naturally, as you see, have a lot of just a lot of color to my lips versus my skin, so I don't try to make them much darker. If anything, I try to make a little lighter, but once moistened, it is a little bit darker. This one's been well loved. You can't even see the the writing on it anymore. It is an Essence clear lip gloss. This is Mega Slicks, S-L-I-C-K-S, Mega Slicks from Wet n Wild. This one hasn't been my favorite. I kind of don't like how it has the doe foot. I don't know, it's just really small, and I feel like I have to redip to get enough product. I haven't used it too much though, so it's not something that I have with me very consistently. I also have the Clarins, the old lip oil. The new lip oils, if you're familiar, in a round component now. This is nice. This tends to be what I put on right before I go to bed because I do feel like it's a little longer lasting, and like when you're mashing your face into the pillow, maybe it lasts longer. This is probably my third or fourth of the NYX. This is Juice Gloss. This one that I have in my hand is Guava Snap. Whenever I wore the pomegranate one, that one is the one that I got the most compliments on, but I wanted to try them all. It's supposed to be infused with electrolytes. Is it? I don't know. But I do enjoy the Guava Snap. And then what I had on when I started filming today, Mario Badescu Rose Lip Oil, Lip Balm. I can't read evidently. So lots and lots of options when it comes to something affordable to just keep hydrated. Please, please, please. If you are a dry-lipped individual, please keep hydrated. Okay, folks, thank you so much for joining me for my get ready with me for work today. This is essentially my everyday face, outside of the fact that I have a new little extra beauty mark today. But I feel like it's natural. It covers up any sort of redness that is objectionable. It's not something that's too much. And if you will, like, follow, comment, subscribe. I can't remember all the things. Otherwise, if you have the notification bell turned on, that always helps as well. When it comes to the beard that I mentioned earlier, I did try out several Curlsmith products. I'll put a link either in the description or pin it to the top comment. Thanks so much. Bye, folks. Have a good day.